Hi everyone. I'm here today to speak with Helen Cole. She's strategic life coach. She helping business to balance work and life. We'll be discuss a few points which is really important. Let me check if she's online. She's not online yet. I'm waiting, she's coming so I can invite her. No, she's not. We might have to wait a few seconds. So I'm gonna take this time to talk about our event on Friday. The event's called Breakthrough in Business. It's gonna have a full expert. The first expert is Gail. She's gonna talk about mindset and be unstoppable. And then it's me talk about digital marketing. Then it's Helen talk about live the life to the full and be happy with your business. And then we have Florence talking how to pitch and present your business. Let's see. I can see that someone's watching. Helen, are you there? So wait another moment to see if she's coming live so I can possibly invite her. Yes. Okay, in a few seconds Helen will be live as well with me. Let's hope we not have any glitches today. Hi Helen.
Hi, Tania.
Nice to see you.
It is good to see you, and it's a bit faster as the last time.
Yes, this time we didn't have any glitches, so it was smooth. So I'm gonna position my camera because I'm holding, and as you can see, it's not perfect. So I'm gonna position my camera here, and I hope it's not the best angle as you can see for me. Let me just.
Okay.
So basically, as I said it before, as I said it before, Helen is a coach, and before I mention more about her and what she does, I'll back to her. So Helen, can you tell me a little bit of your journey? Have you always been a coach? What were you a coach before? And how do you feeling be a coach now?
Sure. I wasn't always a coach. I have a background in business administration, so I have a degree in change management. And I think for 15 years, I had several jobs in companies, and then there was a moment in time where I was kind of looking for something else. I had the feeling that I wasn't doing what I was supposed to do. And so I began a search of, what is really important to me? What do I want to do? And it took me a while, but I found out that I actually wanted to help people more directly. And I wanted to help people to feel good about the choices that they make for themselves. I wanted to help them feel good about their lives. And so I decided to do a course in coaching. And I did several courses, and I ended up as a life coach and started my business in 2014 as a life coach. And now I help business owners actually to regain the feeling of freedom and fulfillment and joy in running their business.
Wow, that's fantastic. Oh, and the questions that I was having here for you is, Why do you think people can feel stuck in their business? Why they work so hard?
It can have several reasons why they feel stuck. One of them is that they are very busy. You know, when you have a business, and especially if you work alone or with a small team, you do a lot. And when you have a business that has been running for a few years, you have your clients, you have your products, your services, you know what to do. And then you can have a full schedule just doing what you do. And not paying attention for the things that you would like to invest in, the things that maybe the ideas that come up sometimes, and you think it would be really exciting to do that, but you actually don't know how to make space for that and the time for that because you have a business that is running. And while you're not attending these new ideas, you can have the feeling of really working hard, but not really progressing because you're not paying attention to the things that really matter in the long term.
So it's not, there is no fulfillment, man. And you just
Yeah.
feel like you do the normal, the wheel cycle, every day. Yeah, yeah. And
Yeah.
how could you help this kind of business, and how, business entrepreneurs, freelancers, that they feel they go every day to work 9 to 5, do that work for, because maybe they have a family, they have a children, they have bills to be paid, and they feel that how can they come out of this routine and still be satisfied in terms of money, but also have the full fulfillment in terms of provide something.
Yeah. I think when we are very busy, and you're just running around to get things done every day, you can lose sight of what is really important. And so everything seems important. Everything on your to-do list seems urgent. And then you have, people requesting things from you, and you're being led by the everyday activities and everything that comes on your path that day. And when you are able to step away from that because you are speaking with someone who is helping you with it, then you can regain that perspective of what is really important in the longer run. And then you can see that some of these activities that you're so busy with are actually not that important because they don't support that longer term goal. And some of the things you're just doing because you have been doing it for so many years. And especially if you have been running your business for a few years, you learn a lot, but it doesn't mean that you actually do something with your learnings.
Yes,
Because you
yes.
just keep going in the
Yeah,
way that you've
yeah,
been going, right?
yeah,
So
yeah.
sometimes it's about letting go of things that have worked for you in the past. And sometimes it's not so easy for people because you're just used to, doing things because they work.
Yeah,
But for the long run, they might not work for you, not for
yeah.
your fulfillment anyways.
No, no. So this is one of the struggles. What could you name all the struggles that a normal client of yours has?
So it's a feeling of overwhelm
Mm.
and
I think
busyness.
everyone's having that.
Once in a while, we all have that, yes.
Yeah. Oh my God, it's too much.
Yes, but if it's like a continuous feeling, then it feels like you're trapped. And some of my clients can have that feeling, and some of them can start to doubt if they have, the focus or the discipline to take on new projects and bring new ideas to fulfillment. So sometimes they have started to doubt themselves, while, it's not them. It's just that you sometimes just need a bit of a distance from your business by just speaking to someone else about it and just speaking about the things that you would really want for you in the near future. Because when we talk to someone else and someone is really listening, it's easier for us to listen to ourselves. And so when you can speak out about what is truly important, what it is that you want to achieve, then you could acknowledge for yourself. And that's actually the first step to, be very conscious about what you're going to do with your time and your energy and, your attention. And then the journey starts, and it's about having the consistent action taking. It's not just about taking action for a few weeks. If you want, results for the long run, it means you need to put in consistent action for that. And so that's why, that's where I help my clients to have that consistency, because you will have moments that it's hard. You will have moments that maybe you are doubting if it's possible. You have moments where it's maybe kind of scary because it's outside of your comfort zone. And then it's good to have someone to talk about it and who can remind you what it is that you're actually working on and why it's so important. It's so funny, but even the most important things for us, we can forget about it when it gets hard. Then it's easier sometimes to just keep doing what you're comfortable doing.
Yeah, there is a question now. So, would you recommend quitting a full-time job to go self-employed fully, or build your business on the side alongside your full-time job first? I think this question is more to do with the mental state instead of a real.
Yeah, it's a good question, actually, because I'll share with you how I did it first, and then I'll answer the question directly. What I did when I started out my business as a side hustle. And
Hustle,
back then,
go.
Yeah. And in 2014, I had a husband who had his business for, I think, 1 or 2 years by that time. So he just started out. I had not a full-time job, but almost full-time. And I had a daughter she was 4 by that time. And so because I was, switching into this new business, I wanted to have more, confidence to, be a coach, be an entrepreneur, because actually being an entrepreneur is something you have to learn as well. It's not just, for me, it's not just about being a coach. And I started my business so I could have a lot of freedom in, doing the things in the way that I want. But I didn't realize that being an entrepreneur was, something to, to look into, to work on. And
so hard, isn't it? Because I think the way that I feel, some people are thinking being entrepreneur is almost like a celebrity. You do whatever you want when you want it, and you go to work or you work from home, or is like people think it's a fairy tale almost, but they don't understand actually it's much harder than work for somebody else 9 to 5, and you have your fixed salary. Okay, it's a fixed salary, but it's a fixed salary that's coming every month. And once you're entrepreneur, you have all these crazy, good months, bad months, no months, maybe, nothing at all. And you have surprise, you have people come back to you, let you down, partnership, collaboration, and you have to wear so many hats. So you're the business person, you're the strategic person, but you're also the admin, the accounting, and the sales, and the marketer. And the same way, you have to be your self-coach. Okay, today I'll be easy on me, oh, tomorrow be hard on me. So it's a very tough position. That's the reason that some people try and they say it's not for me. It's definitely not for me. I better work for somebody else because I have to have a thick skin. I have to juggle too much, and I might just need to have a coach to help me through this.
So what I wanted to do, that was my plan. What I wanted to do is actually, I started it as a side business, and then I wanted to grow my business. And when I had enough revenue, I would quit my job. But it didn't go that way because I had so many hours put into my job that I had back then, that little time that I had for coaching, I didn't have time left to really build my business. So that was hard. And I thought, okay, let's work a little bit less at the company and then put in more hours into my business. But by that time, I was coaching people and I already felt I had made the shift to being a coach. And it felt like I wasn't in alignment if I would stay any longer at the company that I was working for, because I was doing all other sorts of stuff there. And I was like, no, I don't want this anymore. And so I decided to quit my job when I didn't have any clients. And I just went full time for my business. So I took a risk. I had savings, which wasn't, meant for that, but I had it, right?
Wow,
And
that's your
that
proper entrepreneur. Risk taker, move on. I like your style, Helen.
but it's not really my advice for everyone. For me, it worked out.
Yeah.
And why? It's because I had the savings, and what I actually did, I'm a planner, so I needed to see on paper how would that work out for me. So I was thinking, okay, I have this money. Let's say I wouldn't have any clients. How many months could I have a business without clients for me to survive? When I saw that, and I saw on paper that I had 2 years of trying and not having results, I was like, oh, within 2 years having clients, oh, I can do that. So I was very certain I could do that. So I talked to my husband, had to do 2 conversations about that, of course.
Of course,
And then
of course.
yes, he supported that. So I did. But to answer your question, that's not for everyone. You need to know yourself, be aware of, how, are you able to take that risk? Do you have some money on the side for the months that you don't have revenue or not enough revenue? Because when you start your business, you will have so many learning points. In the beginning, I was an entrepreneur who thought that it was, oh, that's so nice, I can work from home. So every day I was just at home, behind my laptop, thinking that clients would come to me, right? And actually no one knows
You're not
you.
the only one. You're not the only one. Majority of my clients, they feel like sometimes, because they say, look, I need a website. And okay, you need a website, but you need everything else as well. No, I just need a website. They will see my website, they want to work with me. I was like, it's not like that. And
no, you really need to get out there to meet people. And that was one of my first mental blocks, to really go networking, right? So I was just hiding behind my computer, actually. So I think it's a good thing if you started as a side hustle, unless you feel it very different like I did. But it's okay to start as a side hustle, because actually if you have the money in the bank, it gives you some peace of mind that would make it easier for you to learn along the way, to make mistakes, to not have revenue for a month or maybe 2 months. And I had to learn it the hard way. I look back on 3 or 4 months into my business, I was like, that's zero revenue, right? And then I was like, I'm doing something wrong. And I had to push myself to go out and go networking and do all those things that I wasn't comfortable doing. And it's something you just need to do as a business owner. And it's a lot of fun. But I think it gives you so much peace of mind if you have some money on the side, or you have a job on the side, or your business is on the side. It's the same.
Yeah. I agree. I think everyone's starting a different position, and I think you're quite lucky to have 2 years to play around. This is amazing. I never heard anyone.
No, you know what, Tanya? You know what? That was my calculation. But I spend my money very easily, so it wasn't for 2 years. but luckily I have clients very, very soon.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, when I start my business, I started a side hustle. You know, I was work for a company, and then I start to slowly get the clients outside of the work hours, and then after one point, and then I said, "That's it. It's enough. I don't want to work for somebody else. You know, it's my clients now give me enough to, you know, give enough to pay the bills, give enough to me live." Is wasn't amazing, was not amazing income. I had no income, but I had enough income to, you know, pay the bills and
Yeah.
surviving. And then from that
Yeah.
point onwards, you start to make more, and you think, oh, I can give myself some presents. I can give you more presents. And one thing that I noticed from me and maybe other people, I was investing a lot in myself. So I did a lot of training, and I'm still doing, you know, I don't know how many trainings I do per year, because I'm thinking I need to be on the top of the game. I need to know, I need to, you know, be the expert. And if you don't do that, you kind of left behind.
Yeah.
And I think in any sector, you have to invest in yourself. You know, if you
Yes.
have a business,
Definitely.
if you feel you're passionate about something, or right in the beginning, I think in the beginning is the most important point, because you're so naive in terms of who's coming next, you know, what you
Mm-hmm.
need to do next, either planning, marketing, or, you know, have a coach on the side help you through that journey. We know the journey
Yeah.
is not easy.
Yeah.
We have stumbles and sacrifice, and sometimes you want to give up, and why I'm doing this, I have such a great salary, why I'm doing. And then you're like, oh yeah, I'm doing for the family, for me. And then you have a good month and you, oh, I love it. And then you had a bad month and you question again. And I think it's quite normal. But I thinking having training and course and the right people on the side can really help, you know, people can really help
Yeah.
business. And
Definitely.
and I have another question for you. Don't think you go just easily. So
But
how, what?
I wanted to what you were saying about investing in learning more, because I certainly agree with you. I invest in a lot in keeping up with my with coaching, and at the same time I see a lot of people also hiding behind learning a lot. So I see a lot of people going from one course to another, and putting almost all of their time into learning instead of
Implemented.
actioning in their business. Yes. So it's a balance, right? So you need to keep learning more so you can be on top of your game in business and in your craft. But at the same time, it shouldn't be at the cost of taking action in your business, because your business needs your actions, all the time.
Yes, yes,
And
yes.
you can love learning so much that you would do that for hours during the day, while those are the hours that you should put into more networking, more marketing, more creating content for your clients and stuff like that.
Yeah, I agree 100%. It's no point of going learn if you're not implemented. And
Yeah.
this is one key things, you know, you have to put time aside for the implementation as well. You went to a course, a workshop, or seminar. What you do next day is start to rethinking everything that you learn and how you're going to implement these and put on your daily basis. Otherwise, what's the point? Isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
We can, have amazing day, but the next day you just close the book. You just throw away the time and the
Yeah.
money spent there.
Yeah.
There is another
Yeah.
question. So there is a question
Huh?
from Maxine. She's
Oh,
saying, what tools do you use to help stay organized with your accountants and budget? So
sorry, can you say that?
she's asking a question that's completely out of our conversation, but she did ask a question. She said, what tools do you use to help stay organized with your accounts and budgeting?
What do I use to stay organized?
with your accounts and budget? What do you use? Any tools? Do you use? Do you have anything that helps put it? You know, the money that you plan your business, the money that you receive from your clients.
Um, what I actually do is I have an accountant who does a lot for me. In the beginning, I did it by myself, and I don't know if you have it there, it's Moneybird. So I use that to make my invoices, and I could keep track of the money that I had, and all the payments that I did. But what I actually saw is that, that's not my strong point to keep up with that, because I just really don't like to do it. And so what I did was I hired an accountant who does all of that for me, almost all of it. So I actually don't do that by myself. It's actually not hard to do it. I don't think it's hard. But I know that because I so much dislike doing it, it would be something that I would just procrastinate on, and it would just get bigger and bigger and bigger. And I couldn't, I didn't have like the actual numbers of my business. So that wasn't good. So that's why I just hire someone else to do that for me.
Yeah, that's.
So I'm sorry, that's not really a good answer on the question for the question, but
Yeah,
maybe
yeah.
you have some suggestions for that,
Yeah, my
Tania.
suggestions will be, if you in UK, you can use Zero. Zero is very good. It's a software. You pay monthly, but they organize all your accounts, and you can always share there with your accountant, so your accountant can come and see if you're doing right or wrong. Or if you no one don't want to do it anymore, the accountant just can take off and do it for you. So, but back on this subject in terms of not liking and liking, which is, I think, is a very important point in terms of having a business. I think as a business owner, we have to be very specific what the things we enjoy doing and keep doing, and the things that we don't enjoy, killing our time, killing our creativity, and give to people. And
Yeah,
sometimes this means you have to pay someone and invest in someone, but you have to think
yeah,
as a good thing. You have the time for yourself, and you have the time to appreciate what things you like doing. Like you, I hate accounting. It's not for me. I like sending voice out asking for payments, but that's it.
no,
Everything
me
else dealing with account drain my brain. Is like a no, 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 no,
yes.
no, no. Leave me think strategically. Leave me thinking about the branding, the colors, and how can we push this brand forward. But no. So I have another question for you, Helen. So one of the
Yes.
key elements to grow your business is to work on your mindset. How differentiate can your results be when you can change your mindset?
It can be totally different actually, because your mindset is actually about what you unconsciously believe to be true. So you're not conscious about it, but it actually determines 90% of your actions and how you show up in your business and in your life. And so you can have plans to sell more of your products, but if you have a subconscious belief that, I don't know, making money is a bad thing, maybe you learned that from growing up or what you saw, and the things that you learned from other people. If that is your subconscious belief that it's bad to earn a lot of money, then you can speak the words to sell your products, but there is something underneath that energy that is making you not very effective in selling and earning money. So it'll stop you in achieving what you want. So we need to change that set of beliefs that you have in order to support the goals that you want to achieve. And I think especially when you have a business and you have ambitions to grow, you will have some mindset issues along the way. And you will notice that because you will not get the results that you're working for. Things are just not working out for you. So it could be a mindset thing. It's because you have this subconscious belief that is, working against you. Um, and you can also notice by saying that you're going to do something and then not doing it. So you just freeze. So it's like for me in the beginning, I knew that I had to go out there and meet people. I had to, take more space on social media. And then when I said, okay, I'm going to, write some posts for Facebook, I couldn't do it. I just didn't do it. And I
Really?
had a coach at that time. I couldn't do it. And it was so, so easy. It's just typing something about what I think and just send. I couldn't do it. It took me, I don't know, it took me like 3 sessions with the coach, and she's like, no, you just have to do it. You just have to do it. And I just froze. And why? Because my subconscious belief was that I cannot speak if I don't have something really, really important to say. And that comes from, from when I was little, not that someone would tell me that, but that was just, I was a very quiet person, right? A quiet kid. And I was always hearing like, oh, she's so sweet, she's so quiet. And so I began to think that as a really good quality, which it is, but I took it too far, right? I was like, oh, it's just better to speak when you have really important stuff to say. And, that can work for a long time, but when you have a business, that's not a good thing.
No.
And so I had to overcome that. Yeah.
Yeah, I think everyone's got a different blocks and different situations. I had a money coach personality talk to me about, the ways of more investing more money, be more open to money, and see clients in different way, and perceive myself in a different way with money. Because I think all of us, there is some issues with money somehow, or communications, and then leading to maybe not growing your business. But for sure, a coach would help you. A coach will find specific points on your daily routine, on your past, that can unblock those things. I have another question as well. So how do you help your clients to move forward when you analyze some specific issues in terms, about the business? How do you help them?
How do I help them? I help them by first we get really clear on what they want to achieve, right? So they know what they want and they know why they want it. Why is that important to have more fulfillment or more joy in running their business? And then we set up a plan how to achieve that. And what we actually do, in the way that I work with my clients, is it's very action oriented. And of course, you have like things like mindset issues, they always come up. So sometimes you have to look at that in order to move forward. But my help is very much focused on the action. And so it depends on where the client is in his journey and how big the step can be for someone to move on. Because for some people, a step that we talk about can be too big and they would just freeze and not do it, or they would get overwhelmed because it's just too much. And so my job is actually to really see what is a feasible next step for them. And I help them to create the time and the space around that, because my clients are very busy. So sometimes I help them to look at their schedule, to see what are they working on, how do they spend their time, and how come they feel like they're overwhelmed and cannot get the things done that they want to do. And sometimes they are working in a way that is not very helpful in staying focused and disciplined. And so I help them with, strategies to really schedule their day in a way that they can be concentrated and focused, and that they create time to work on that new thing, to have those consistent actions, even if it would just be a half an hour a day or 15 minutes a day.
Yeah.
It's just about, getting into the motion. And then when you have motion, you try to build up that momentum. So I help them to create that bigger momentum, so they can go faster and faster.
Wow. So work with you means we'll go faster and faster then.
Yes, if you're ready for that, we'll do that. Yes.
Wow. Well, I know that, the most important things for you is work and be joyful. So means the key for you is have a business that you love, right? And
Yes.
how you summarize that?
You know, I really believe that if you can create and run a business that is so much in alignment with who you are and what you want, what is important to you, I really believe that you can make a better impact on your clients, on the people in your life, or the people around you, your family, your friends. And, if we feel good about the choices we make and the lives we are living, it's better for everyone. And so that's why I really want to help entrepreneurs to, regain that freedom that maybe they once had, but maybe they lost along the way, or that feeling of fulfillment. A lot of us start out with a mission or an idea, you want to help people in this way, but then, along the way, you change and you have new desires. And sometimes if you don't pick up on that and you just keep doing the things you did from the beginning, you can lose touch with, your purpose. And
Yeah.
I really want to help entrepreneurs to stay aligned with that purpose so they can feel that freedom and that fulfillment in what they do.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. And it's important aspect to say that, because every time that I sit with a client, they either start a business or rebranding or need, I ask those kind of questions as well. What's make you happy? Why are you still doing this business? What's your differential? Why it's so important to you to do this product or this service? And then with that in mind, then we create something that is truly the person. It's not that we try to make it up or fake it. It doesn't go anywhere. You have to be truly honest, truly open when you're starting a business with yourself and for the people that you're gonna serve. So I totally believe in that. So just to finish off now, I know you're one of the speakers on Breakthrough Business on Friday. Can you tell a
Yes.
little bit more about the event and what you're planning to, discuss on a day?
Sure. So the event is on Friday in London, in Notting Hill. You are one of the speakers. I am one of the speakers. We actually have 4 speakers that day. We are touching on different subjects that are very important for business owners to grow their business. And one of us, that's Gael, she's going to talk about mindset. We talked about this a little bit today, which is a huge, important factor in, running your business. You are talking about digital marketing and branding, of course. And then Florence is going to talk about public speaking, which is so important. And even if you're not, planning on getting on a stage and talk to people, you are always talking to people as a business owner. It's so important that across to people. I am talking about what we've been talking about today, about how, which steps to take to actually transform your business so you can regain a feeling of freedom, fulfillment, and joy in running your business. So that's all about, knowing your purpose and also knowing how to make choices on a daily basis that will, give that kind of excitement and that feeling of joy while you are doing what you love to do the most. And it's about listening to that voice that comes up once in, like, oh, I have this idea. And instead of just being distracted by your busyness every day, trying to reconnect with that idea and translate that into steps you can take every day, so you can grow that idea into a next, I don't know, maybe a next service, or it would be a next step you'll fulfillment. And it's you would just experience once you have achieved that goal. It's about also
showing to me on the screen of,
how to transform your business. I can't hear you.
about
No.
coaching. But I hope see you everyone on the 27th of September in Notting Hill, 9 o'clock. The event's Breakthrough in Business. You can find on my Facebook page. Also, if you go to Eventbrite and put Breakthrough in Business, we show up. We'll be there 9 in the morning. We have a breakfast. We're going to have the event. We have just several breaks. And then the end of the day, we have a network session. So I hope see you all there. And I can't wait, really. I can't wait. Super exciting. And thank you so much, Helen, for today. It was amazing.
Me too. Thank you. It was great.
Soon,
thank you so much.
And, I hope to do more interviews from now on.
Yes. Let's do.
See you
Bye.
Friday. Bye.
Thank you. See you Friday. Bye.